Hi, this is Digital Femin reporting live from FITC Mobile 2010 in Toronto, Canada. I'm actually here at the Metro Convention Center where I'm here with Tom Purves, and he just did a speech on Canada and State of the Union address and where it's going in the mobile tech sphere. So Tom, I wanted to ask him this really important question. And the question was, we actually devised it together, but what was that question?
The question was, what will it take for Canada to be competitive in the future of the world and the global digital economy? And for me, that question is about treating digital connectivity, whether it's wireless or wireline, but especially mobile, because I think mobile is crucially important to where the web is going and to where innovations in ICT are going. And the answer, I think, is just we got to start treating connectivity as utility, as a vital piece of infrastructure in the digital economy, and not as a luxury item. So in Canada, for a long time, we've gotten away with maybe thinking that smartphones are a luxury item, that it's okay if they're priced out of reach of mainstream consumers. It's okay if we don't have wide distribution or high mobile penetration. But I think it's not going to be okay in the future of the digital economy.
Great. So do you think this 2010 decade will actually see Canada compete in the global sphere in terms of mobile environment?
So we're seeing some good signs. So compared to just a few years ago, where Canada had no 3G networks at all, we now have 5 of the fastest 3G networks in the world. We have Canadians taking to smartphones with a high rate of adoption. But we have a couple of big problems. One of which is that Canada is still the most expensive country in the world for monthly cell phone bills, and we also have the longest contract length in the world for cell phones. And I think that unless we get more competition, more active competition, especially price competition in the mobile space, that we're not going to see the distribution and ubiquity of connectivity that I think that next generation technology and digital economy is really going to be built on.
Oh, great thing. Another thing I've noticed, I've lived in the U.S. and Europe, and what I've seen is that Canada is pretty much in the background of new technologies and especially devices coming into Canada. When are we going to start to see Canadians getting in an uproar saying, hey, we want the first device first before you deploy it elsewhere?
I think it's a bit of a challenge because Canadian carriers are sheltered, and they have a much smaller scale than, say, an AT&T or a Verizon. So a carrier with the clout of AT&T can demand a global exclusive, even if it makes no sense because they don't do business anywhere in the US, other than in the US, but can demand exclusives on some new devices. And I think that's a problem for Canadian carriers, and it's a problem. It is related to the fact that we don't have a lot of foreign competition by law in our market, so we don't have those scale advantages that some of those other carriers have for devices. But I think that will change too as we start to see such a proliferation of devices out there. Whereas Canada used to always get the world's hand-me-down devices, we now are seeing more Android devices, more iPhone devices, and especially more BlackBerry devices. BlackBerry being one of the leaders in smartphones based here in Canada, and a real success story in terms of devices. But we'd like to see that happening more on Android too.
Oh, great. And I'm glad you mentioned that. One last question. Where do you see Android going in terms of its adaptation in the Canadian scene?
Canadians love Androids. The carriers all of them haven't done a necessarily very good job of selling Android. For example, Rogers, Canada's biggest carrier, doesn't have any 2.0 OS model Androids yet, even though US carriers are already on 2.2. You still have out-of-date firmwares and so forth, and that I don't think the carriers in Canada have figured out or gotten their head around the whole idea of rapidly updating platforms yet. They're sort of still in the mode of sell it and forget it, as opposed to the constant updates that you see in the fast-moving pace of Android. But I think all carriers are still trying to figure out how to play in that world, because Google has really set a new pace, and it'll take a little while to shake out.
That's true. Tom, thanks for hitting up some really key points, especially for a Canadian perspective. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too. And you can follow Tom Purves at TPURVES on Twitter.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.